Wrapping up. Okay,
6
so
minutes.
that was okay. That's decent time.
Worry about to eat it. 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 Chocolate. Worry about to eat it. 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 Worry about to eat it.
Welcome to the Huddle High School Sports Show. I'm your host, Isaac Farmer.
I'm Ben Farmer.
Hey, we here and we're going to make sure that you understand that tune into THTV, go to YouTube, click on the bell so that we know that you're subscribed. Also, coaches, make sure that you submit your highlights along with your scores so that we can make sure that we give you all the production that you need on the Huddle High School Sports Show. Now, let's get into it. Our game of the week this week was National Christian versus Largo.
Absolutely.
We was there. We was doing all the highlights. We was doing the interviews.
Yep,
Let's talk about this game.
Man, a barn burner as they call it,
Yeah.
right? Didn't start off that way. First quarter, National Christian Academy came out to a roaring lead, right?
Yeah,
22-9,
I
right?
thought the game was going to get away from Largo.
It looked like the game was away from Largo,
Yeah.
right? I mean, hands down. National Christian Academy got everything they wanted in that first half of the game.
Easy.
I mean, the 3-bucket was going down, drive to the lanes, fast break points. Their press and their defense was causing Largo problems.
It was frustrating them.
And it didn't stop, right? On into the second quarter, right? Still kept that double-digit lead. Now, Largo seemed like they started to get a little life then. Right? And, you know, you're looking at them like, okay, hold on. Do they have some fight in this fight, right?
Well, they went down at half 35-25, so it was still a manageable game. It was still a game that was manageable.
Absolutely.
But however, National Christian still got what they wanted.
Absolutely. Everything they wanted. Now, I don't know what the coach said to Largo at halftime.
Coach Ward had to go into halftime and say something to put some fire under them players.
Absolutely, because the way they came out in the third quarter, they looked like a totally different team.
That press they put on National Christian, they pretty much owned the third quarter.
They didn't have an answer for it. Now, what it makes me think is, you know, you don't see these teams each and every year, right? Some of these non-conference games, it really makes me ask questions like, you know, well, how much tape do you have? How much do you really prepare when you don't see a team as much?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it's a new face. Right. You know, playing in a new building, a new environment. How much is that a pro or con towards some of these?
And
some of
National
these teams,
Christian
right?
seemed like they underestimated Largo.
Absolutely.
But when that third quarter came, Largo said, hey, look, I got something for you.
14-7.
14-7.
That was the score. Largo's way, 14-7. Took the lead down to 3 points for National Christian going to the fourth quarter.
42-39 going to the fourth quarter.
Yes,
I had to get on the edge of my seat for that game. I'm like, whoa, it's a game now.
I'm talking sloppy play, turnovers, extra buckets, put back dunks by Largo.
Man, that was crazy.
It was serious.
That had the crowd going.
Absolutely. Everything they wanted. It was a total shift.
Yeah.
All right. Now, something big happened in the third quarter.
Well.
All right. Largo lost one of their best players, right?
Yeah.
So a gentleman by the name of Woody, right? Nicknamed by the name of Woody, right?
Right.
Lights out 3-point shooter for Largo.
He was knocking it down.
Chirping with one of the National Christian Academy guys, back and forth, going shot for shot. Not knowing the situation, he got a technical foul, which was his 5th foul, and put him out the game. Now, question.
You got to be mindful of that. You know, when you got 4 fouls, you got to make sure that you be on your P's and Q's pretty much.
That's what they say.
Because anything like that get you put out of the game, you're going to hurt your team. You're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting the team.
Now, and that's exactly what the coach said. He has to understand the situation. Right? He can't let that player bait him in, which is exactly what happened.
He shot that 3 in his face. He looked at him. Hey.
I mean, and I get it. I'm not saying he had nothing to say, but it wasn't the time and the place to say it.
It wasn't the time and the place. I agree.
All right, so now, down by 3, going into the fourth quarter, a dogfight. Point for point, jab for jab. Each scored 15 points in the fourth quarter. National Christian undoubtedly pulls it out.
Yeah.
Right? But I really wonder if that player didn't get put out, what would have been the difference,
What would have happened, right?
What would have been the difference?
It would have been trouble for National Christian. They might have took an L that night.
Hey, I mean, all I know is Largo sent a message, right? Like, hey, you can't sleep on the sleepers, right? I mean, point blank, period, right? I mean, once we all step on the court, it's anybody's game.
Anybody's.
All right, so let's go. Talk to me about some of these
The
other.
thing about it was it was 4 seconds left in the game.
Oh, yes,
4 seconds
yes,
left in the
yes,
game,
yes,
and the
yes.
point guard came down. He, like you said, he understood that he was the last shooter left on Largo team that had to make it happen. He played passing. He passed the ball when he should have came down, pulled up for the three.
Well, now that's the one play he paid pass. Now I get it. The major play. I mean, but 18 points for the game, 3 in the first half. He knew that second best player was out. Scored 15, kept them in that game.
Oh, he kept them.
But
for sure.
again, we interviewed him after the game as well. The first thing he said was, "I should have took that
I should have
shot."
took that last shot.
Point blank.
Who knows? That game would have went overtime. Could have still put the upset up.
Exactly.
But
Anybody's
hey,
game at that
yeah,
point.
but
Anybody's
that's the question. Hey, better team won that day.
A win is a win.
A win is definitely a win.
So let's talk about some of these scores we have from the week.
Oh, let's definitely get into that. So, for this week, for the boys, we have Potomac defeated Flowers,
Okay.
98-95.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a close one.
Got some NBA scores going on
Yeah,
over there, don't we?
Who you telling? No defense, it seems
Yeah.
like. Probably an NBA game. He had Parkdale defeated La Plata. We had Parkdale on the show last week, so
Absolutely.
you know they lost to Douglas bad, so you know they had to go and redeem themselves.
Absolutely.
And they beat La Plata.
Home opener at that, right?
Exactly.
Got to take care of home court.
Definitely so. Then you had Sarasville defeated North Point 81-77.
Yeah, I heard there's somebody that you got to look out for them. I heard.
Yeah. For sure. They got a good big man on their team,
Exactly.
I heard. Riverdale defeated Gwen Park. Yeah, you know Gwen Park is our alma mater and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
that's a tough one to
Gwen
say.
Park, you can step it up next game, all right?
But her Riverdale, hey.
Yeah.
You
Riverdale
can't sleep
can't
on
sleep
them.
on Riverdale either.
I think we're talking to one of Riverdale's Baptist rivals today too.
Oh,
if
Rock
I'm not
Creek.
mistaken. Right? Rock Creek?
Yeah.
Rock,
Rock Creek will be
okay,
on the show.
okay,
We'll talk to
okay,
him about
right,
that.
all right.
National Christian Academy defeated Largo 57-54. We just talked about
yeah,
that.
exactly.
So yeah.
Good game.
On the girls' side, Laurel defeated Crossland 72-19.
Okay.
That's almost like a football score.
Hey,
You know, the defense was definitely well played by Laurel.
yeah, I see.
Douglas defeated Bowie 81-44.
Okay.
Another blowout.
Yeah.
Sarasville defeated Duval 52-29.
Seems like the girls and boys stepping up this year.
Yeah. You gotta watch out
Okay.
for both of them. Northwestern defeated Central 33-26.
Gotcha.
That was a close one.
Okay.
National Christian Academy defeated Oxon Hill
There
61-37.
we go. It seems like they both gained 2 wins on the boys and girls side for National Christian
Exactly.
this week.
So hey,
Can't-
watch
not
out for
mad at
them
that.
because they want that smoke.
Absolutely.
Hey, I want to let y'all know we have a special guest on the show that's coming up. We have Rock Creek coach, Coach Lafayette. We have 2 of his star players going to be on the show as well. So stay tuned because they have some smoke that's ready to let y'all know about. All right, stay tuned.
Everything good I find in
And we're back to the Huddle's High School Sports Show. Again, I'm your host, Ben Farmer, and I'm here with Coach Lafayette from Rock Creek Christian Academy and two of his star players. Go ahead and introduce yourself, fellas.
I'm Delani Hunt, play point guard for Rock Creek Christian. I'm a senior point guard also.
I'm James Gross. I'm a guard/forward for Rock Creek Christian, junior.
And we thank you guys for joining us. But we're going to get right into it, okay? Right now, you guys started off a good way in this season, 5-0. But let's take some steps back into last season, right? So ending record 21-9, but made it to the championship game, the CBAA championship, with the win over National Christian Academy. So let's talk about how you used that momentum to spark you into this season. Coach?
Well, as tough as the league is, that was a stepping stone. That was the first goal, was to win the league, because it's pretty much an even playing field. Everybody's recruiting, everybody's on the same page. It's really talented guys in the conference. But the ultimate goal, when you win that league, you go on to play the Maryland State Private School games, which is the Maryland State Private School Championship.
Okay.
And that one we went on and lost to DeMath in the championship, but we were able to beat really good teams, McNamara, Tacoma Academy, so on and so forth, to get there.
Gotcha.
So the first year we knew it was going to be a building process. I knew we were going to be good. I didn't know how good. Fortunate enough, these guys found it to definitely take home a championship, which I was really proud of them for, because they had a lot of targets on their back, and we had to overcome a lot of adversity. First year, you got chemistry issues, guys getting to know each other on and off the court, because it's just as important that they like each other off the court as they do on the court.
Absolutely, same chemistry.
And that chemistry took a second to build. When you take guys that are all used to being the guy at their specified program and then bring them into an environment where they're all trying to work together to build on one goal or have one common goal, sometimes that can be difficult. But these guys bought in. It wasn't an overnight process, but they bought in, and by midway through the season, we had started to find our own strides and started to figure out what we did really well. And once they came together, they were able to overcome the odds and win the championship.
That is great to hear. So what I'm getting from that, so there were ebbs and flows last season, fellas. So how did you guys, or tell me the pivotal point in last season when you found that chemistry, or found for you guys to come together to make that final push for that CBAA championship?
I believe it was later during the season when we had a lot of games under our belt. You know what I'm saying? We got to know each other a lot more during school, just hanging out with each other. I think that's when it clicked, and that's how I think we came together and won the championship.
Okay, so is there a point that sticks out for you?
A point that definitely sticks out for me, I would say it's probably two. The first one I would say is we came back, we played Riverdale at Riverdale, and we ended up losing that game in a tight one. We ended up going to overtime into that game, and we ended up losing. And then after that game, it was like there was so much defeat. It was like we kind of lost ourselves. We kind of we weren't happy for each other anymore. We started arguing, and then that bad energy kind of led on, but to the point it didn't hurt us as much because we were still winning. But once we got to that state championship at DeMath, like he said, it defeated us, like you said. But we were able to pick it back up. I feel after those two losses and that pivotal point, those sticking out, I feel like that kind of played a factor into the CBAA championship.
Okay, so hindsight being 2020, right? I mean, okay, going against DeMatha, definitely a powerhouse program in the area, but not getting it done. Okay, so what could you do differently if you had the opportunity to do? Or do you take it as a lesson learned, let me apply it, and to continue moving on?
Honestly, DeMatha last year, that was clearly one of the top 5 or 10 teams in the country.
Absolutely.
They had more depth. They were a lot deeper than we were. They had 5 guys high major. 3 of those guys now are gone, but they had 5 high major guys. That was a tall task, being at that stage in the game for us, where those guys are 4-year players together. Those guys have been together for most of the years. I mean, Earl, which is a former Rock Creek kid, was there for 2 years, and he was really the only one they had to add. Hunter's been there for 4 years. Justin's been there for 4 years. That team had a little more experience at that time, and I think that they were a little more disciplined and kind of came together a little more than we did at the time. But looking back on it, sometimes success comes from failure, because that's the motivation we use now to get us over the hump as we go and play everybody. And we understand there's no second chances at this, and when it's over, it's over. And we were fortunate that the way it worked out, that Maryland State playoffs was before our conference playoffs.
Gotcha, okay.
We used that motivation to fuel us to help us get through and win the conference championship.
Gotcha, okay. So let's take that back then. Okay, so since losing that Maryland State playoffs, right? I'm sure you two saw something in that game, an opportunity, in your personal game that you needed to work on to make sure that it didn't come up again in that CBA championship. So what did you personally see that, I have to look at myself in the mirror and fix this to make sure I'm the best player for this team?
It was just more confidence. Like, I would be out there like timid, like just kind of scared to go out and just play my game. But now I just go out there and play because I know, I got a bigger role this year. I'm I'm older now, so I just know I have to go out there and perform more. And I'm just expected of me because we built a name for ourselves. So if we go out there and mess up, just slack off, you're gonna have backlash from it. So I'm saying we go out there and just compete every night, play our game. I think that's what really got better over the past year, I think.
Okay, what about yourself?
Honestly, I would say back to your first question about because I think that was a really good question of how could we have done anything differently. Honestly, I don't think we could have because Coach said they were a really good team. I feel like if we would have made more shots that night, we would have been in the game. We would have been closer than it was. But I don't think like you said, I don't think anything differently should have happened. It happened. Everything happened for a reason.
Okay.
So honestly, I think that like you said, that built us. It gave people more confidence. They gave people the lesson to learn. It gave Milton to know you got the green light, let it fly. It gave Zod the knowledge to know it don't matter if he's bigger than you, you can go at him. Like he said, it gave him more confidence to play his game. Stop thinking so much. And it gave me an easier job because now I'm playing with guys that, not saying that they weren't before, but now they're more comfortable. They're in their comfort zone. It's easier I can trust them more. Like I'm saying, that's not I didn't trust him before. I can trust him easier because I know he's not thinking he's going to mess up. He's already thinking he's going to do the right thing, and if he doesn't, he's going to get right back on defense.
So absolutely, of course, you can agree that sometimes certain lessons need to be learned, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't want to learn it that way. But yes, that's all part of the game. I mean, you win some, you lose some, but there is something something that can come of it when you have the caliber kids that I do, who are exceptional players, could play on anybody's team. I'm fortunate that I have the group that I do have because all these guys believed in me and needed to come to play for the program, and getting those guys to buy into each other. And everything I said to them in their living room is starting to come full tuition as far as what they can do on the court as well as what they're going to do off the court. Not to mention the colleges that these guys have started to pick up.
Okay, absolutely. So you said something that I want to key in on. You said believe in you, right? So you're a young man, right? A player previously, now a coach, right? So do you consider your style as that player coach, or maybe more so of that disciplinarian?
I should probably let them answer that. I would definitely say I'm more of a player's coach. I try to relate to these guys a lot. I mean, we can laugh, we can joke. My only thing is when it's time to get serious, it's time to get serious. And between those lines, those hour and a half they have in practice because they don't focus any longer than that we have to lock in, I need that. The other time we can laugh, joke, we can listen to music, we can have a good time, we can talk about anything. I think I have a separate relationship with pretty much everyone on the team. They all can text me separately about anything. We have our own conversations that are between us, and I talk to them about stuff separately, and then we all have our stuff as a unit. So I'm definitely more a player's coach because I genuinely care.
Gotcha.
If these guys told me tomorrow I don't want to play basketball again, I'd be sad. But I would still stay in contact with them. It wouldn't be you played 1 year, I got what I got from you, and that's it. Coming up for me, the coaches that I got along with the most were guys that I really developed a relationship outside of the court. I mean, the young coach that recruited me is now the head coach at Delaware State, Eric Skeeters. We talk all the time.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, again, to me, it's bigger than just basketball. The relationships, the things like that you get from having that time to spend with them makes it all better when it comes down to winning and things like that. You appreciate it more.
Gotcha. So let me pick it back off of that, right? So you can honestly say that you build a relationship, with the players on your team.
Absolutely.
Right. So I mean, given it is so competitive in this area when it comes to building a team and putting it on the floor, right? You see a lot of players transferring, switching from school to school, and you, I'm sure you have a lot, not only with players, you have a lot of good relationships with other coaches as well, right? So talk to me about how do you separate that, right? He played for me, he played for you. I mean, regardless of how he got there, we don't want to speculate, but I mean, how do you deal with that?
Well, it's the wild, wild west, honestly, and it's either be I mean, these kids nowadays, they move for different reasons. You never really know why. Sometimes it's the parents, sometimes it's them. Sometimes kids think they're better than what they really are. Sometimes they get to a different program, may not work out so well. I stand by what I do for the program and my kids.
Okay.
So when it comes to relationships, you get kids from different ways, and when you do right by kids, a lot of times you get calls from other people about kids. You know, you did right by my nephew. My cousin has a kid, that's 6'6". It's from this area, or whatever the case may be, and you check them out. But it does make it difficult when you are personable and you get along with a lot of coaches. And what I try to do is, at the bare minimum, if it's a coach where we have a respect for each other and he's never went after my kids and vice versa, but the kid wants to transfer, you ask them, or they talk to the coach first, and then you give them an opportunity to do that. If not, you reach out to the coach if it's somebody you're good with and say, listen, this is where we are. Coaches, we aren't going to hold kids hostage.
Got you. Okay.
I don't want anybody on my team that doesn't want to play for me, because if you do, then you'll give me your butt to kiss, and that's not going to work, because then we're going to have big issues. So it's better for me to have a kid that wants to be in the program. This summer, with as talented as the kids that we had, all these guys that came to me, we use the terminology sometimes, these are second chance kids. Meaning sometimes my kids weren't afforded the same opportunity at the schools they were at prior to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we try to shed light on them. Sometimes a lot of people shy away from that. Don't give kids second chances for one reason or another, or hear something about a kid, judge them already. When they start with me, they have a clean slate. I don't judge him by what he did at St. John's. I don't judge him by what he did at Riverdale. I form and develop my own relationship with them. And then I make my own decision from there as to whether or not I want to be bothered with the kid, or whether or not the kid is a right fit. All the kids that I have were handpicked. There was nothing left over. Credit to Chris Cole, because he had an outstanding group. That was the coach before me, and now he's coaching Division I at Bryant University.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the stable was pretty much empty. So I had to rebuild in a short span of time. And I was fortunate through relationships that people recommended me, you know, because parents want to know, well, what about this coach before I send the kid there? Who is he? What has he done? Does he have any kids to play at the next level? Is he a good person? So on and so forth. So when the parents can call and ask other people, yeah, actually, I do like Coach Lafayette or Coach Laf. He did X, Y, and Z, or I've heard nothing but good things. Now, you can't please everybody. I'm sure there's a few parents out here that probably feel a certain way about me, but for the most part, I do what I can within reason for the children. I think that's a lot of reason why I was able to have the kids that I do have. When we had this summer, and I was previously coaching at AU, but when you do that, my goal this summer was to focus just on my kids. Okay. Because while I'm out doing other stuff, and they'll tell you, I was almost at every AU tournament, every game they went to that I could make it to. I mean, I said to work, but within reason that I could make it to, just to support them. And you can probably ask them how many of their head coaches of any other teams are actually on the road head coaches, watching just specifically their kids play. You know, and that's what I mean by just the tactic that I use and how my relationship is with my kids. So if D-Lo didn't play well in the 17U game against DC Premier, I'm calling them to the hotel. He'll tell you that. James Gross, if I'm not there, they're laughing because they know it. Hey, come to my room. Or I'm on the phone with them. I need you more aggressive. I need you doing this. I need you doing that. Don't just go through the motions. And while doing that, everybody in the area tried to get my kids this year. I mean, they probably tell you that. I was getting calls from everyone. Man, this kid's thinking about transfer here. They're trying to get this kid there. But again, I'm blessed and unfortunate that I know I stand by the work that I do. These kids know who's right and who's wrong, and who really has their best interest. So I never once had to question or call my kids about when they're saying this, are you leaving this, that, and no, I don't. The kids usually reach out to me and, man, so-and-so's trying to call me, blah, blah. Okay. And it's funny, man. The business works like that, man. But again,
a business nonetheless.
I don't get mad at the other coaches. I mean, it's a business. I understand that, you know. But just remember, if you open Pandora's box, right, you know, understand that I could do the same thing too, you know. But I try to stay on the even keel like that, because to me, I mean, it's really about relationships.
Okay. So, General, let's jump into this season really quickly. But use last season as a template. So you started off 4-0 last season. If I'm not mistaken, you dropped 3 straight. Okay. So starting off 5-0, yeah, we tried to do our research a little bit. So dropping off 5-0 this season, right? What's the mentality? You know, how do we not, you know, rest on those laurels and make sure we keep, you know, we change the narrative from last season to this one?
But let me just say this before they chime in. We had injuries.
Okay.
We lost those 3 games. Guy Fauntleroy, D-Lo were both hurt. Guy didn't play at all. He was hobbling. Okay. So we play a tough schedule.
Gotcha.
So we weren't fully staffed. You know, unfortunately, and the bench was not as deep as it is.
Okay.
So we took some L's because we just weren't prepared, and that's something I learned from. Okay, I gotta get more guys, more bodies, because you know, credit to him, he even played because he's just that kind of kid. But I mean, the guy could barely go full speed. You know, and it was, now don't get me wrong, 80% of D-Lo is better than a lot of guys, 100%. But again, he wasn't full tilt, and you're playing guys that were ranked in Richmond and all that kind of stuff. That's tough. That's a tough draw, and no forfeits. You can't call a game. You still got to show up and play. So that played into it. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, fellas.
Go ahead.
Repeat the question.
A little bit.
So we want to know, starting off 5-0, a hot start, right? Had a hot start last season. Now, again, injury aside, right? What do you guys need to do to make sure you keep this hot start going into the season?
Well, first, I think these 2 seasons are different because I think first 4 games last year, we weren't challenged. We were walking into them, and then we were walking straight out. But this through this 5-game stretch of this year, we had 2 challenges: the First Love at DeMatha, and then also Glen Country. And even when we played Thurgood at Trinity, we had a challenge. So I think those games kind of let us know that we got a target on our back, and we can't look past anybody. Like you said earlier, we can't look past anybody, and we got to play everybody the same. And I think it kind of it factors into this year because we know that. Last year we were matched up with Oak Hill and Sunrise, but we didn't succeed. And a loss is a loss. Yep. So we want to win those tough games this year. And since we have those on our schedule, we want to be able to have those tough victories. If you win it by 1 or win it by 20, it doesn't matter. We just want to have that W on our schedule.
Yeah.
I feel like last year and this year differentiate because, but this year I feel like being 5-0 starting off, I feel like this is feeding us more. We want to keep it going. I feel like last year we got comfortable, so I feel like, and then the injuries too. So I just played on that 3-game stretch that we lost. But this year we way more loaded. You know, we got better chemistry to start off with, and I feel like 5-0. I feel like the rankings all that we just want to be. We're not satisfied. We want to keep it up and keep going. And like he said, like Sunrise, Oak Hill, with them games last year. We went in there thinking, you know, let's give them a good competition, you know what I'm saying? Let's give them, you know what I'm saying, let's fight our hardest. But this year, we going in there to win. Like, I feel like we can really compete with anybody. And the Hoop Fest, First Love, I feel like that game right there, it gave us, like, that feeling. Like, I think we got, like, this the one this year. Because if we do that, we can compete with anybody. I feel like we can beat a lot of people that we're not supposed to beat. So I feel like that's how.
No, so absolutely. So definitely on that national stage, like National Hoop Fest, you know, all eyes are on you all now. You guys are definitely not under the radar. You're ranked number 7 on the Huddle's top 25. So definitely, you know, we want to see you guys going back up, keep going up that ranking. But we definitely appreciate your time, each and every one of you guys. We definitely thank you for coming out on the Huddle's High School Sports Show. We wish you nothing but the best, you know, championships and upon championships. And we'll be back after these commercials.
Back at the Huddle High School Sports Show. I'm your host back, Isaac Farmer.
And I'm Ben Farmer.
Hey, just give you a recap of what's going on today. This week we're going to be at Roosevelt versus DeMatha. at 7 o'clock p.m. for our game of the week.
And that's tomorrow. And on Saturday, we're at Team Takeover Battle of the Beltway, as well as the DMV Annual Classic at North Point High School. Again, that's on Saturday. We want to thank our guests, Rock Creek Christian Academy, for coming out. We want to thank you for tuning in. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment, and we'll see you next week.
Huddle up.
Worry about the